I stood frozen on the sidewalk, clutching my car keys so tightly that they dug into my palm. It was late afternoon, the sun casting long shadows across our quiet suburban street. I watched in stunned silence as Emily, my wife of 10 years, stepped out of our house with another man. They laughed, their voices mingling in the air like a cruel symphony, oblivious to the world around them. The man was tall and confident, with an easy charm that seemed to captivate Emily. She held his hand tightly, her eyes sparkling with a happiness I hadn't seen in years. They walked to his sleek black car parked in our driveway, and my heart pounded in my chest as they drove away, leaving me standing there, my world crashing down around me. I felt a storm of emotions, shock, anger, and a deep, gut-wrenching pain. How long had this been going on? How had I missed the signs? The answers to these questions didn't matter at that moment. What mattered was the betrayal that had just unfolded before my eyes. I took a deep breath and walked into the house, every step feeling like a march toward an uncertain future. The house was eerily quiet, the silence only amplifying my thoughts. I knew I had to keep my composure, but the rage inside me was building. I found Emily's phone on the kitchen counter, her passcode still fresh in my memory. With trembling hands, I unlocked it and scrolled through her messages. There it was, in black and white, the texts, the photos, the plans they made behind my back. Each message was a dagger to my heart, confirming my worst fears. The next day, I met with a lawyer. I needed to understand my rights and prepare for what was to come. He advised me to gather more evidence and suggested hiring a private investigator. His pragmatic approach gave me a sliver of hope, a way to channel my anger into action. I began to follow Emily discreetly, noting her movements, her secretive phone calls, and the time she would disappear for hours. My suspicions were confirmed as I collected more evidence of her infidelity. But this wasn't just about proving her betrayal. It was about planning my revenge. I hired a private detective to ensure I had professional, undeniable proof. The detective's findings were thorough and damning, painting a clear picture of Emily's deceit. As the pieces fell into place, my plan began to take shape. I would make her regret every lie, every betrayal. First, I started to quietly move money from our joint accounts into my personal one. It was a financial chess game, and I intended to leave her with nothing. Then I reached out to her lover, weaving a story of manipulation and deceit, convincing him that Emily was using him just as she had used me. The night I had everything ready, the evidence, the financial transfers, the betrayal exposed, I confronted Emily. Her shock was palpable, her excuses weak and insincere. The divorce papers were ready, demanding the maximum compensation for the emotional torment she had caused. I didn't stop there. I took our story public, sharing it on social media for the world to see. The humiliation she felt was a mere fraction of the pain she had inflicted on me. As I began to rebuild my life without Emily, I felt a sense of vindication. The scars she left were deep, but my revenge had brought me a sense of closure. She would always regret betraying our family, and I could finally move forward, free from her shadow. The night after witnessing Emily with another man, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her laughing, her hand intertwined with his. The betrayal burned deep, and I knew I couldn't let it go. I needed proof, something undeniable. The next morning, I awoke early, driven by a newfound determination. I had to gather evidence not just for my sake, but to ensure she couldn't manipulate the situation in her favor. I started with her phone, which she carelessly left charging on the kitchen counter. I felt a pang of guilt as I unlocked it, but it was quickly overshadowed by the need for justice. Scrolling through her messages, I found an endless string of texts to a contact named Jack. The messages were explicit, filled with plans for their next rendezvous and expressions of love that should have been reserved for me. Each message was like a slap in the face, but they also fueled my resolve. I took screenshots of everything, carefully storing them in a folder on my computer labeled Evidence. I checked her email next, finding even more incriminating evidence. She had booked hotel rooms, bought expensive gifts, all while pretending to be the devoted wife at home. My hands shook as I printed out every damning piece of evidence, building my case against her. My next step was to meet with a lawyer. I scheduled an appointment with one of the top divorce attorneys in the city, a no-nonsense woman named Jessica, who had a reputation for being ruthless in court. Sitting in her sleek office, I laid out the evidence I had gathered. She listened intently, her face betraying no emotion. "You have a strong case," Jessica said finally, her eyes meeting mine. "But you'll need more. Concrete proof of her infidelity, something that can't be disputed." Her words echoed in my mind as I left the office. I knew what I had to do next. Hiring a private investigator felt like a betrayal of its own kind, but it was necessary. I found a reputable agency and explained my situation to the investigator, a grizzled man named Tom who had seen it all. Tom assured me he would get the evidence I needed. For the next few weeks, he followed Emily, documenting her every move. He provided me with photos, videos, and detailed reports of her meetings with Jack. It was painful to see, but also strangely validating. I wasn't crazy. She had been lying to me all along. During this time, I continued to act normally at home, playing the role of the unsuspecting husband. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it was crucial to my plan. Emily was none the wiser, blissfully unaware that her world was about to crumble. Tom's final report was the nail in the coffin. It included video footage of Emily and Jack checking into a hotel, holding hands and kissing in the lobby. There was no denying what she had done. Armed with this irrefutable proof, I felt a sense of grim satisfaction. The next step was to set my financial trap. I began discreetly moving money from our joint accounts into my personal one. I made sure to leave enough so she wouldn't become suspicious, but the bulk of our savings was now under my control. I also consulted with Jessica about securing our assets, ensuring that Emily wouldn't be able to take more than her fair share in the divorce. Every night, I would sit in my home office going over the evidence and refining my plan. Revenge was no longer just a fantasy, it was becoming a reality. I imagined the look on Emily's face when she realized the depth of her betrayal and the consequences that awaited her. It was the only thing that kept me going. I was ready. The evidence was collected, the financial safeguards were in place, and my resolve was unshakable. Emily's days of deceit were numbered, and soon she would know the full extent of my fury. She thought she could betray me and get away with it, but she was about to learn just how wrong she was. With the evidence securely in my possession, I focused on the next phase of my plan, laying the financial trap. It was time to ensure that Emily's betrayal would cost her everything. Every morning, I would head to work, keeping up appearances, but my mind was always on my plan. I had started to secretly transfer funds from our joint accounts to my personal one, making sure to leave just enough to avoid raising Emily's suspicions. I created a network of new accounts and investments, effectively hiding the money in plain sight. My lawyer, Jessica, guided me through the process, helping me secure our assets. "We need to make sure she can't touch anything substantial," she advised. "Document every transaction and keep everything under wraps until the time is right." I followed her advice meticulously. I knew Emily would fight dirty when she realized what was happening, so I had to be one step ahead. I combed through our finances, identifying every weak spot, every potential point of contention. It was a meticulous, exhausting process, but it was necessary. One evening after Emily had gone to bed, I sat in my home office reviewing the latest statements. The transfers were almost complete. Soon she would find herself without the financial cushion she had taken for granted. The thought brought a grim smile to my face. I also began to sow seeds of doubt and discord in her relationship with Jack. Using a burner phone, I sent him anonymous messages, hinting that Emily was using him for his money, just as she had used me. "She's not who you think she is," I wrote. "Ask her about her secret accounts." I knew it was risky, but I needed him to question her loyalty and intentions. The following days were a waiting game. I continued to play my part as the oblivious husband, while Emily remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around her. I watched her closely, noting her every move, every secretive phone call, and every late-night outing. Then, one evening, I saw my opportunity. Emily and Jack had planned a weekend getaway. They thought they were being discreet, but I had known about it for weeks, thanks to Tom's surveillance. I decided it was time for the confrontation, to pull the rug out from under her feet when she least expected it. The night before their departure, I sat Emily down in our living room. She looked at me puzzled, sensing something was off. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady but firm. Her expression shifted to one of concern. "What is it, Matt?" I took a deep breath, my heart pounding. I know about you and Jack. For a moment, there was only silence. Her face went pale, and she opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. The evidence was laid out before her, and she knew she couldn't deny it. I have proof, I continued, showing her the photos, the messages, the hotel receipts. I know everything. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she began to plead, her voice trembling. Matt, I can explain. Save it. I cut her off, my tone icy. I've already spoken to a lawyer. The divorce papers are ready. You're going to sign them, and you're going to walk away with nothing. Her shock turned to anger. You can't do this to me. Oh, I can, I replied, my resolve unwavering. And I will. You've lied to me, betrayed me, and now you're going to face the consequences. I handed her the divorce papers, watching as she stared at them in disbelief. You think you can just take everything? She spat. I already have, I said calmly. All our assets are secured. The money is gone. You have nothing left. Her defiance crumbled, replaced by a look of sheer desperation. She had underestimated me, and now she was paying the price. The satisfaction I felt was a cold comfort, but it was enough. That night I left her in the house, her cries echoing behind me as I walked out the door. The trap was set, and there was no escape for her now. She had betrayed our family, and she would regret it for the rest of her life. The night before Emily's planned getaway with Jack, I knew the time had come. I couldn't delay the confrontation any longer. I had to face her with the evidence and deliver the crushing blow of my revenge. The house was quiet, the air thick with tension. Emily was in the living room, reading a book, completely unaware of the storm about to hit her. I walked in, my heart pounding, but my resolve as solid as steel. Emily, we need to talk, I said, my voice steady but cold. She looked up, sensing something serious in my tone. What is it, Matt? I took a deep breath, every muscle in my body tense. I know about you and Jack. Her face went pale, the color draining away as she tried to process my words. What are you talking about? She stammered, a weak attempt at denial. I have proof, I said, pulling out the folder of evidence. I laid it out on the coffee table in front of her, the photos, the messages, the hotel receipts. Each piece of evidence was a nail in the coffin of our marriage. Emily's eyes widened in horror as she flipped through the pages. Matt, I can explain, she began, her voice shaking. Explain what? I snapped. How you've been lying to me. How you've been betraying me with another man. The anger I'd held back for so long finally spilled out, my voice rising. There's nothing to explain, Emily. I've seen enough. Tears welled up in her eyes as she tried to reach for me. Please, Matt, I made a mistake. It was just a fling. It didn't mean anything. I stepped back, shaking my head. A mistake? You planned this, Emily. You lied to my face every day. Do you have any idea what you've done? She broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. I'm so sorry, Matt. Please, give me another chance. We can work through this. I felt a momentary pang of sympathy, but it was quickly overridden by the memory of her betrayal. There is no working through this, I said, my voice cold and unyielding. I've already spoken to a lawyer. The divorce papers are ready. I handed her the papers, watching as she stared at them in disbelief. You can't be serious, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I am, I replied, my tone leaving no room for doubt. You're going to sign these, and you're going to leave, and you're not getting a cent from me. Her shock turned to anger. You think you can just throw me out with nothing? I have rights, Matt. Oh, I know, I said, a cold smile forming on my lips. But you see, I've been preparing for this. All our assets are secured. The money is gone. You have nothing left. She looked at me, a mixture of fear and rage in her eyes. You're a monster, she spat. No, Emily, I said, leaning in closer. I was a loving husband who trusted you. You made me into this. You betrayed our family, and now you're going to pay for it. Her shoulders slumped as the reality of her situation sank in. She had underestimated me, thinking she could have her affair and keep her comfortable life. But now, everything was slipping away from her. As she sat there, broken and defeated, I felt a twisted sense of satisfaction. My revenge was almost complete. Pack your things, I said, turning to leave the room. I want you out of this house by morning. That night, I slept in the guest room, the weight of what had just happened pressing down on me. It wasn't joy or relief that I felt, but a grim acknowledgement that justice had been served. Emily had betrayed me, and now she was facing the consequences of her actions. The next morning I found her packing her bags, her face a mask of sorrow and regret. She paused as I entered the room, searching my eyes for any sign of forgiveness. But there was none to be found. She had made her choices, and now she had to live with them. As she walked out of the house, I watched her go, the door closing behind her with a finality that marked the end of our marriage. Emily was gone, and with her, the life we once shared. I stood there for a long time, letting the silence wash over me. My revenge was complete. She would regret her betrayal for the rest of her life, and I would begin to rebuild mine, free from the shadows of her deceit. With Emily out of the house, the reality of our impending divorce settled in. The confrontation had been the first step, but now came the legal battle. I had prepared meticulously, ensuring every detail was in place to protect myself and secure the justice I sought. The morning after Emily left, I met with Jessica, my lawyer, in her office. She greeted me with a firm handshake and a look of approval. "You've done well, Matt," she said, reviewing the stack of evidence I had gathered. "This will make our case much stronger." We discussed the strategy, focusing on presenting Emily's infidelity and financial irresponsibility. Jessica was confident that with the evidence I had, we could secure a favorable settlement. But it wouldn't be easy. Emily was likely to fight back, especially when she realized the extent of her financial losses. Over the next few weeks, the legal proceedings began. Emily hired her own lawyer, a slick-talking man named Richard, who was known for his aggressive tactics. He wasted no time filing motions and making demands, trying to paint Emily as the victim in an attempt to sway the court. But Jessica was prepared. We countered every move with solid evidence, showing the extent of Emily's betrayal and deceit. In our first court appearance, Jessica presented the photos, messages, and financial records, leaving little room for Emily's defense. Emily's face was a mask of anger and frustration as the evidence was laid out before the judge. Richard attempted to discredit the evidence, claiming it was taken out of context. But Jessica remained unflinching. She methodically dismantled each argument, showing the judge the undeniable truth. The financial aspect of the battle was equally intense. Emily had underestimated the extent of my preparations. Jessica presented the evidence of my financial maneuvers, highlighting how I had secured our assets and ensured that Emily would be left with nothing substantial. "Your Honor," Jessica said during one hearing, "my client has acted prudently to protect his interests in light of his wife's egregious betrayal. The financial measures taken were necessary to prevent further harm." Emily's lawyer tried to argue that she deserved a fair share, but the judge was clearly swayed by the evidence of her infidelity and deceit. It was becoming increasingly clear that Emily's actions had consequences she hadn't anticipated. Throughout the process, I maintained my composure. Every court appearance, every meeting with Jessica, reinforced my resolve. I was determined to see this through to the end, to ensure that Emily paid for her betrayal. One day, after a particularly heated court session, Emily approached me in the hallway outside the courtroom. Her eyes were red, her face a mixture of anger and desperation. "How can you do this to me, Matt?" she demanded. "After everything we've been through." I met her gaze, my expression calm but resolute. "You did this to yourself, Emily. You chose to betray me, to lie and cheat. Now you're facing the consequences." She shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I never thought you'd go this far. I thought we could work things out." "It's too late for that," I said, my voice firm. "You destroyed our marriage, and now you have to live with the results." The final court date arrived, and with it the culmination of our battle. The judge reviewed the evidence one last time before making his ruling. "In light of the overwhelming evidence presented, I find in favor of Mr. Thompson," he declared. "Mrs. Thompson's actions have demonstrated a clear breach of trust and financial irresponsibility. The division of assets will reflect this." The gavel came down with a finality that echoed through the courtroom. Emily slumped in her seat, defeated. Jessica gave me a nod of satisfaction, and I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Justice had been served. As we left the courtroom, I couldn't help but feel a sense of closure. The legal battle was over, and I had emerged victorious. Emily would walk away with nothing, just as I had planned. She had betrayed our family, and now she would face the consequences. I walked out into the sunlight, ready to start anew. The scars of her betrayal would always be there, but I was free from her deceit. It was time to rebuild my life, to find happiness again, and to leave the past behind. The courtroom victory was a significant milestone, but the true challenge began afterward. The house felt emptier, the silence louder. Emily was gone, and with her departure, a chapter of my life had closed. It was time to face the aftermath and begin rebuilding. The first few weeks were a blur of paperwork and logistical tasks. I worked with Jessica to finalize the legal details, ensuring that all financial and property matters were settled. The divorce decree was signed, and Emily was legally out of my life. Despite the satisfaction of the court's ruling, there was an undeniable emptiness that lingered. I focused on creating a new routine, something that didn't revolve around the life I had shared with Emily. Mornings were the hardest. The absence of her presence was a stark reminder of the betrayal. I found solace in small tasks, like making breakfast or going for a run. These mundane activities became anchors, grounding me in my new reality. I also took steps to reclaim my space. The house, once filled with memories of our life together, needed to reflect my new beginning. I packed up her belongings, boxing them away, and delivering them to her new address. It was a cathartic process. Each item removed a step toward reclaiming my life. With Emily gone, I decided to renovate the house. I repainted the walls, changed the furniture, and redecorated rooms. It was more than just a physical transformation. It was a way to cleanse the space of the past and make it truly mine. Each change was a step toward healing, a way to assert my identity without her shadow looming over me. Friends and family played a crucial role during this time. Their support was a lifeline, reminding me that I wasn't alone. I reconnected with old friends, started attending family gatherings again, and even joined a local book club. These interactions helped me rebuild my social life, filling the void left by Emily's absence. Work also became a sanctuary. I threw myself into projects, taking on new challenges and responsibilities. My colleagues, aware of my situation, offered their support and encouragement. The distraction of work provided a much-needed escape from the emotional turmoil, giving me a sense of purpose and normalcy. But the nights were the hardest. Alone in the house, the silence would creep in, and the memories of our life together would resurface. It was during these times that I confronted my pain, allowing myself to grieve the loss of the relationship. I sought therapy, finding it helpful to talk through my emotions with a professional. It was a journey of self-discovery, learning to understand and heal from the wounds of betrayal. Emily's presence in my life faded slowly. I heard through mutual friends that she was struggling, facing the consequences of her actions. It brought a sense of vindication, but also a realization that holding on to anger wouldn't help me move forward. I needed to let go, to truly heal. I began to focus on my personal growth. I took up new hobbies, such as painting and hiking, activities that brought me joy and peace. I traveled to places I had always wanted to visit, experiencing the world on my own terms. These experiences helped me rediscover my sense of self, independent of the life I had with Emily. One evening, as I sat on the porch watching the sunset, I felt a sense of calm that had eluded me for months. The sky was painted in hues of orange and pink, a beautiful reminder of the possibilities ahead. The journey had been painful, but I had emerged stronger, more resilient. The aftermath of Emily's betrayal had been a crucible, forging a new version of myself. I was no longer defined by her actions, but by my response to them. The scars would remain, but they were now a testament to my strength and resilience. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I felt a renewed sense of hope. The past was behind me, and the future was an open canvas. I was ready to start anew, to build a life defined by my choices and dreams. The betrayal had been a turning point, but it didn't define me. I had reclaimed my life, and with it, the promise of a brighter tomorrow. With my life gradually falling into place, there was one loose end that still nagged at me: Jack. The man who had been a key player in the betrayal, who had laughed and loved with my wife behind my back, had to be confronted. I needed closure, and that meant facing him directly. I spent a few days contemplating how to approach him. Tom, the private investigator, had provided me with enough information to know Jack's routines and favorite haunts. He frequented a bar downtown, a place where he and Emily had often met. It was the perfect setting for our confrontation. One Friday evening, I decided it was time. I walked into the bar, the dim lighting and murmurs of conversation creating an almost surreal atmosphere. I spotted Jack at a corner table, laughing with a few friends, completely unaware of my presence. My heart pounded with a mixture of anger and anticipation as I approached him. "Jack," I said, my voice steady but laced with an edge of tension. He looked up, his smile fading as he recognized me. "Matt," he replied, his tone cautious. "What are you doing here?" I pulled up a chair and sat down across from him. "We need to talk." His friends, sensing the tension, excused themselves, leaving us alone at the table. Jack's eyes darted around nervously. "Look, if this is about Emily—" "It is," I interrupted, my gaze unwavering. "You knew she was married. You knew she was my wife, and yet you still chose to pursue her." He shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "It wasn't like that. She told me things were over between you two, that you were just staying together for appearances." I felt a surge of anger but kept my composure. "Did you ever bother to verify that? Did you ever think about the consequences of your actions?" He looked down at his drink, unable to meet my eyes. "I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't mean for it to go this far." "Sorry?" I echoed, leaning forward. "Sorry doesn't cut it. You helped destroy my marriage, my family. You betrayed not just me, but your own integrity." Jack remained silent, clearly struggling with the weight of my words. "I get it," he finally said. "I messed up. But what do you want from me now?" "I want you to understand the impact of your actions," I replied, "and I want to make sure you never do this to anyone else." He nodded slowly, his expression a mix of guilt and resignation. "I understand, and for what it's worth, I am truly sorry." I sat back, feeling a sense of closure wash over me. This confrontation was as much for him as it was for me. It wasn't about revenge, but about making him see the consequences of his choices. "I've moved on," I said, standing up. "I suggest you do the same. And remember this moment, Jack. Remember the pain you've caused, and make sure it never happens again." As I walked out of the bar, a weight lifted off my shoulders. Confronting Jack had been necessary, a final step in reclaiming my life. He had seen the damage he'd helped cause, and I hoped it would change him for the better. The night air was cool and refreshing as I made my way home. I felt a sense of peace, knowing that I had faced the demons of my past head-on. Emily and Jack were part of a painful chapter, but they no longer held power over my life. I had confronted the man who had betrayed me, and in doing so, I had freed myself from the lingering shadows of the past. It was time to look forward, to embrace the future with hope and determination. The journey of healing was far from over, but I was ready to face whatever came next. As I reached my house, I paused for a moment, looking up at the stars. They seemed brighter than before, a symbol of the possibilities that lay ahead. I had confronted the betrayal, faced the pain, and emerged stronger. Now it was time to truly live again. The confrontation with Jack had provided me with a sense of closure, but the most important task still lay ahead: reconnecting with my children, Emma and Noah. Their lives had been upended by the divorce, and I needed to ensure they knew they were still loved and cherished. One Saturday morning, I called Emma and Noah into the living room. They were hesitant, their young faces marked by confusion and sadness. The separation had been hard on them, and they deserved honesty and reassurance. "Kids, I know things have been really tough lately," I began, my voice gentle. "But I want you to know that I love you both very much. None of what happened is your fault." Emma, always the more perceptive of the two, looked up at me with wide eyes. "Are you and Mom ever going to get back together?" The question hit me hard, but I had to be truthful. "No, sweetie, we're not, but that doesn't change how much we love you. Your mom and I will always be here for you, just not together." Noah, who had been silent, finally spoke up. "Will we still see you?" "Of course, Noah," I said, moving closer to them. "I'm not going anywhere. We're going to have so much fun together. I promise." Over the next few weeks, I dedicated myself to rebuilding my relationship with Emma and Noah. I rearranged my work schedule to spend more time with them, planning activities that we could enjoy together. We went to the zoo, had movie nights, and even started a weekend tradition of making pancakes together. One afternoon, we went to a local park. Watching them play, I felt a sense of hope. Despite everything, they were resilient, Emma climbed the jungle gym with ease, her laughter ringing out, while Noah chased after a soccer ball, his determination evident. Later, as we sat on a picnic blanket, I asked them about their feelings. "How are you guys holding up? It's okay to tell me if you're sad or angry." Emma shrugged, her expression thoughtful. "I miss how things used to be, but I like spending time with you, Dad. It feels different, but not bad." Noah nodded, echoing his sister's sentiment. "Yeah, it's weird, but it's also kind of fun. Can we do this more often?" I smiled, feeling a warm sense of relief. "Absolutely. We're going to make new memories together. Things will get better, I promise." As the weeks turned into months, I saw a change in Emma and Noah. They were happier, more adjusted to the new reality. I made it a point to communicate openly with them, encouraging them to express their feelings. We developed a routine, one that provided stability and comfort. One evening, as I was tucking them into bed, Emma looked up at me with a serious expression. "Dad, are you happy?" The question took me by surprise. I had been so focused on their well-being that I hadn't given much thought to my own happiness. "I am, Emma. I'm happy because I have you and Noah. You two mean the world to me." She smiled, seeming satisfied with my answer. "We're happy too, Dad. We love you." Hearing those words, I felt a sense of fulfillment that had eluded me for months. The bond with my children was stronger than ever, and together, we were healing. The process of reconnecting with Emma and Noah had taught me the importance of resilience and love. Despite the pain and betrayal, we had found a way to move forward. Our family dynamic had changed, but the love remained constant. As I stood in the doorway, watching them drift off to sleep, I felt a profound sense of peace. The future was uncertain, but I knew we would face it together, stronger and closer than ever before. Emma and Noah were my anchor, and with them by my side, I was ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Life had begun to stabilize. I was adjusting to my new normal, and the kids were doing well. Yet, amidst the routines and small victories, an unexpected connection emerged. Tom, the private investigator who had helped uncover Emily's affair, became more than just a professional contact. One evening, I received a call from Tom. He wanted to check in, see how things were progressing post-divorce. We decided to meet for a coffee the following Saturday. It was a casual invitation, but little did I know it would become a turning point. We met at a small cafe downtown. Tom greeted me with a warm smile and a firm handshake. "Matt, good to see you," he said, pulling out a chair. "You too, Tom. Thanks for reaching out," I replied, genuinely glad to see him. We ordered our drinks and settled into an easy conversation. Tom shared stories from his career, the challenges and rewards of his work. His tales were fascinating, and I found myself drawn to his straightforward, no-nonsense approach. After a while, the conversation shifted to more personal topics. Tom, it turned out, had gone through a similar experience years ago. His wife had betrayed him, and he had faced a painful divorce. Hearing his story, I realized he understood my journey on a deeper level. "How did you move on?" I asked, genuinely curious about his path to healing. Tom took a sip of his coffee, his gaze thoughtful. "It wasn't easy, Matt, but I focused on what I could control. I threw myself into my work, found solace in helping others. Over time, I started to rebuild my life." His words resonated with me. "It's been a tough road," I admitted, "but reconnecting with the kids has been my anchor. They keep me grounded." Tom nodded, a knowing smile on his face. "Family is everything. It's good that you're there for them. They'll remember that." Our conversation deepened, touching on themes of resilience, forgiveness, and personal growth. Tom offered practical advice and a listening ear, something I hadn't realized I needed. His perspective was invaluable, and I began to see him not just as an investigator, but as a mentor and friend. As our meetings became more frequent, we discovered shared interests. We both enjoyed hiking and often planned weekend treks to nearby trails. These outings became a regular fixture in my life, offering a sense of camaraderie and an outlet for stress. One Saturday, as we reached the summit of a particularly challenging hike, Tom turned to me, his expression serious. "You know, Matt, you're stronger than you realize. I've seen many people go through what you have, and not all of them come out on the other side. You've done well." I felt a surge of gratitude. "Thanks, Tom. You've helped more than you know." He clapped me on the shoulder. That's what friends are for. With Tom's support, I started to see new possibilities for my future. He encouraged me to pursue interests and goals that had been sidelined during my marriage. I enrolled in a photography class, something I had always wanted to do but never found the time for. Capturing moments through the lens became a new passion, providing a creative outlet and a fresh perspective on life. Tom also introduced me to his circle of friends, a diverse group of individuals with varied backgrounds and experiences. Their acceptance and warmth helped me expand my social horizons, creating a network of support that was both enriching and reassuring. One evening, after a particularly enjoyable dinner with Tom and his friends, I reflected on how far I had come. The betrayal and pain were still there, but they no longer defined me. I had built a new life, one filled with genuine connections and meaningful pursuits. Tom had become an unexpected ally, a guiding force who helped me navigate the rocky terrain of post-divorce life. His friendship was a testament to the power of human connection and the importance of reaching out in times of need. As I stood on my porch, looking out at the night sky, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter, symbolizing the new paths that lay ahead. With Tom's support and the love of my children, I was ready to embrace the future, one step at a time. As life settled into a new rhythm, I found myself increasingly curious about the full extent of Emily's betrayal. There was a nagging feeling that there were still secrets left uncovered. With Tom's expertise and support, we decided to dig deeper into her activities during our marriage. Tom agreed to help me on this personal quest, understanding my need for closure. We began by reviewing all the evidence we had gathered so far, looking for any overlooked details or patterns. Tom's meticulous approach was invaluable, and soon, we started uncovering more layers to Emily's deception. One evening, Tom called me with a breakthrough. "Matt, I found something interesting. You might want to come over and take a look." I drove to his office, a mix of anticipation and anxiety coursing through me. When I arrived, Tom had a series of documents spread out on his desk. "What's going on?" I asked, trying to read his expression. He pointed to the papers. I did some digging into Emily's financial records. It seems she had been funneling money into a separate account for years, way before the affair even started. My heart sank. "How much money are we talking about?" "Quite a substantial amount," Tom said grimly. "And it gets worse. She was making these transfers to an offshore account. It's clear she was planning something long-term." The implications were staggering. Emily hadn't just been unfaithful. She had been systematically planning her escape, siphoning off our joint assets to secure her future without me. Tom continued, "I also found out that Jack wasn't her only affair. There were others, and each one seems to have had a role in her scheme. She was using them to gain more financial leverage." The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Emily's betrayal was more profound than I had imagined. She had manipulated multiple people, using them to build her own safety net, while I remained blissfully unaware. "We need to expose this," I said, determination hardening my voice. "She can't get away with it." Tom nodded. "Agreed, but we have to be strategic. We need to gather irrefutable evidence and make sure she faces the consequences." Over the next few weeks, Tom and I worked tirelessly to compile a comprehensive case against Emily. We traced every financial transaction, interviewed key individuals, and pieced together a timeline of her deceit. It was a painstaking process, but the more we uncovered, the stronger our case became. One evening, Tom handed me a folder. "This is it, Matt. Everything we need to take her down." I opened the folder, the weight of its contents settling heavily on my shoulders. "What's the next step?" "We present this to the authorities," Tom said. "With this evidence, we can initiate legal proceedings against her for fraud and embezzlement. She won't be able to escape the consequences this time." The following day, we met with Jessica, my lawyer, to discuss our findings. She was astounded by the depth of Emily's betrayal and immediately began drafting the necessary legal documents. "This is a solid case, Matt. Emily won't be able to talk her way out of this." With Jessica and Tom by my side, we filed the charges against Emily. The legal wheels began to turn, and soon she was served with a subpoena to appear in court. The news of the charges spread quickly, shocking our community and dismantling the facade Emily had carefully constructed. The court date arrived, and I walked into the courtroom with a sense of purpose. Emily sat across from me, her expression a mix of defiance and fear. As the evidence was presented, her confidence visibly crumbled. The extent of her deception was laid bare for all to see. Jessica's closing argument was powerful and compelling. Emily Thompson systematically defrauded her husband, siphoning off assets and betraying the trust placed in her. Her actions are not only morally reprehensible, but legally indefensible. We seek justice for Mr. Thompson and the restoration of what was rightfully his. The judge reviewed the evidence meticulously before delivering the verdict. In light of the overwhelming evidence, I find the defendant, Emily Thompson, guilty of fraud and embezzlement. The court orders the restitution of all misappropriated funds and imposes a significant penalty for her actions. As the gavel came down, a sense of vindication washed over me. Emily's intricate web of deceit had been dismantled, and justice had been served. She was led away in handcuffs, her expression a mix of shock and despair. Tom and Jessica stood by my side, their support unwavering. "You did it, Matt," Tom said, a proud smile on his face. "You exposed the truth and held her accountable." I nodded, feeling a profound sense of closure. The journey had been long and painful, but I had faced every challenge head-on. Emily's betrayal had been extensive, but with the help of my friends and allies, I had emerged victorious. As I left the courtroom, I felt a renewed sense of freedom. The past no longer had a hold on me, and the future was mine to shape. With the support of Tom, Jessica, and my children, I was ready to embrace a new chapter, one defined by truth, resilience, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. With the legal battle against Emily behind me, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders. Life began to normalize, and I focused on creating new memories with Emma and Noah. However, just when I thought everything was settling down, an unexpected twist emerged. One evening, as I was preparing dinner, my phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment before answering. "Hello?" "Matt, it's Claire," came the familiar voice of Emily's sister. We had lost touch after the divorce, and hearing from her now was a surprise. "Claire, it's been a while. What's going on?" I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral. "I know this is out of the blue, but I need to talk to you. It's about Emily," she said, her voice tinged with urgency. We agreed to meet at a cafe the next day. As I arrived, I saw Claire already seated, her expression a mix of concern and determination. She looked up as I approached, offering a tentative smile. "Thanks for meeting with me, Matt," she said as I sat down. "No problem, Claire. What's this about?" She took a deep breath before starting. "I found something while cleaning out some of Emily's things. I think you need to see it." She handed me a small box. Inside were letters, documents, and a flash drive. "What is all this?" I asked, puzzled. Emily kept detailed records of everything she did. I think she was planning to use it as leverage if things went south. There are names, dates, financial transactions. It's all there. I felt a mix of anger and curiosity. "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because you deserve to know the full truth," Claire said, "and because I believe in justice. Emily hurt a lot of people, and this could help make things right." We spent hours going through the contents of the box. The flash drive contained files that mapped out Emily's entire scheme, from her affairs to her financial manipulations. It was a treasure trove of information, each document a piece of the puzzle that explained her actions in chilling detail. As we pieced together the timeline, one name kept recurring: Mark Delaney, a name I hadn't encountered before. Claire explained that he was a high-profile lawyer who had been involved with Emily and had likely assisted her in her schemes. "We need to take this to the authorities," Claire said. "Mark Delaney is powerful, but this evidence could bring him down." The following day, we met with Jessica to review the new evidence. She was stunned by the extent of Emily's documentation. "This changes everything," she said. "With this, we can reopen the case and pursue charges against Mark Delaney." The legal process began anew, but this time I felt more prepared. We presented the new evidence to the authorities, and a thorough investigation was launched. Mark Delaney, once untouchable, was now under scrutiny. Weeks turned into months as the investigation unfolded. The media caught wind of the story, and it became a sensation. Emily's meticulous records painted a damning picture of Delaney's involvement in illegal activities, from money laundering to orchestrating fraudulent schemes. One morning, I received a call from Jessica. "Matt, they've arrested Delaney. The evidence was irrefutable. He's going to face serious charges. I felt a sense of closure, knowing that justice was being served. Delaney's arrest sent shockwaves through his professional circles, and the legal ramifications were significant. As the dust settled, Claire and I remained in touch. Our shared goal of seeking justice had forged a bond between us. She expressed her relief that Emily's actions were finally coming to light and offered her continued support. One evening, as I sat with Emma and Noah, I felt a profound sense of peace. The journey had been long and filled with unexpected turns, but the truth had prevailed. My children deserved a future untainted by the shadows of the past, and I was determined to provide that for them. The ordeal had taught me the importance of resilience and the value of allies in times of need. Claire's unexpected revelation had been a turning point, and together we had faced the challenges head-on. As I looked at my children, I knew that the future was bright. We had overcome the darkness of betrayal, and now, with the past firmly behind us, we could look forward to new beginnings. The unexpected twist had brought about a sense of justice and closure, paving the way for a hopeful and promising tomorrow. With the legal battles behind us and a sense of justice served, it was time to embrace the new chapter of my life. The past had been tumultuous, but it had also been a journey of growth and rediscovery. Now, with the horizon clear, I was ready to build a future defined by hope and possibility. The first step was to create a fresh start for Emma and Noah. I decided to move to a new house, one that would symbolize a new beginning for our family. The process of buying and decorating the house became an exciting project, one that allowed us to leave behind old memories and create new ones. We chose a house with a large backyard, perfect for the kids to play and explore. The move itself was a mix of emotions, exciting, yet bittersweet. As we packed up our old home, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought us here. It was a reminder of the strength and resilience we had shown in the face of adversity. Once we settled into the new house, I made it a priority to involve Emma and Noah in the decorating process. We painted their rooms in their favorite colors, set up a play area in the backyard, and even started a small vegetable garden together. Each decision, from the color of the walls to the arrangement of the furniture, was a step toward making the house truly ours. The new environment quickly became a haven for us. The backyard, in particular, became a favorite spot for family gatherings and activities. We spent weekends barbecuing, playing games, and simply enjoying each other's company. The change of scenery was invigorating, providing a sense of renewal and positivity. In addition to creating a new home, I focused on personal growth and pursuing new interests. I continued with my photography classes, immersing myself in the art of capturing moments. The hobby became a source of joy and fulfillment, allowing me to see the world through a different lens. It was a creative outlet that helped me process my experiences and find beauty in everyday life. I also took up volunteering at a local community center. It was a way to give back and connect with others who were navigating their own challenges. Helping others provided a sense of purpose and a reminder of the importance of community and support. Emma and Noah thrived in their new environment. They made new friends at school and engaged in extracurricular activities that sparked their interests. Emma joined a drama club, while Noah took up soccer. Watching them grow and flourish was a constant reminder of the positive impact of change and resilience. As the months passed, I began to see the fruits of our new beginning. The pain of the past gradually faded, replaced by the joy of present moments and the excitement of future possibilities. The challenges we faced had strengthened our bond as a family, and our new life was a testament to our perseverance and strength. One evening, as I sat with Emma and Noah on the porch, watching the sunset, I reflected on our journey. The sky was painted in brilliant hues of orange and pink, a beautiful backdrop to our new beginning. "This is nice, isn't it?" I said, smiling at my children. Emma nodded, her eyes shining with happiness. "Yeah, Dad, it feels like a fresh start." Noah leaned against me, content. "I like our new house. It feels like home." I looked at them, my heart full. "I'm glad you both feel that way. This is our new chapter, and we're going to make the most of it." As the sun dipped below the horizon, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. The journey had been long and arduous, but it had led us to a place of healing and hope. The past was a part of our story, but it no longer defined us. We had embraced the new beginnings, creating a future filled with promise and possibility. With Emma and Noah by my side, I was ready to face whatever came next. The new chapter was ours to write, and I was excited to see where it would lead. The lessons learned and the strength gained would guide us, and together, we would build a life defined by love, resilience, and the joy of new beginnings. As the new chapter of our lives continued to unfold, the concept of forgiveness became increasingly important. The pain of the past had lessened, but lingering feelings of betrayal and anger still occasionally surfaced. I knew that true healing required addressing these emotions and finding a way to move forward with a sense of peace. One afternoon, I decided it was time to reach out to Emily. It wasn't about rekindling any relationship or seeking reconciliation. Rather, it was about finding closure and granting forgiveness for my own well-being. I composed a letter to Emily, carefully articulating my thoughts and feelings. In the letter, I wrote, "Dear Emily, I hope this letter finds you in a moment of peace. As I write, I'm reflecting on the journey that has brought us here. The past months have been challenging, filled with pain and revelations that have reshaped our lives. I want you to know that I have come to a place where I can look back and understand the impact of our shared history. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing the hurt that was caused, but about freeing myself from the burden of anger and resentment. I am choosing to forgive you, not because you necessarily deserve it, but because I need to move forward with a clear heart and mind. Holding on to these negative emotions only hinders my ability to fully embrace the present and future. I wish you well in your journey and hope that you find the peace and fulfillment that you seek. Sincerely, Matt." Once the letter was sent, I felt a sense of relief. The act of forgiving was not just a gesture towards Emily, but a crucial step in my own healing process. It allowed me to release the lingering negativity and embrace a future unburdened by past grievances. In the weeks that followed, I noticed a shift in my outlook. The forgiveness I had extended created space for positive energy and growth. I focused on the aspects of my life that brought joy and fulfillment, spending quality time with Emma and Noah, and continuing to pursue my passions. One day, as I was browsing through my photography portfolio, I received a call from Claire. She had been a valuable friend and ally throughout the process, and her call was a welcome distraction. "Matt, I wanted to check in and see how you're doing," she said warmly. "I'm doing well, Claire. Just taking things one day at a time," I replied. "I've been thinking about how far you've come," she said. "It's impressive how you've managed to turn such a painful situation into something positive. Your strength and resilience are truly inspiring." "Thank you, Claire," I said, feeling a surge of gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without your support." Our conversation continued, filled with reflections on the journey and plans for the future. Claire's words reinforced the sense of closure and the importance of moving forward with optimism. As the months went by, I continued to build on the foundation of my new life. Emma and Noah thrived in their new surroundings, and our family bond grew stronger. I embraced new opportunities from community involvement to personal growth, and found fulfillment in every aspect of my life. One evening, as we gathered around the dinner table, I looked at my children with a sense of pride and contentment. The experiences we had shared had brought us closer, and the future was filled with promise. "To new beginnings," I said, raising my glass in a toast. Emma and Noah joined in, their faces beaming with happiness. "To new beginnings," they echoed. As we clinked our glasses and shared a meal together, I felt a deep sense of peace. The journey had been arduous, but it had led to a place of understanding, forgiveness, and renewal. We had faced the challenges, learned from them, and emerged stronger as a family. The path forward was clear, and I was ready to embrace it with open arms. The lessons of the past would guide me, but they would no longer define me. With forgiveness in my heart and a future full of hope, I was prepared to move forward, creating a life of joy, connection, and endless possibilities. With the past reconciled and a renewed sense of purpose, it was time to fully embrace the opportunities the future had to offer. The challenges and revelations of the past had shaped me, but now it was time to focus on growth and exploration. One morning, while sipping coffee and reviewing my to-do list, I felt a surge of motivation. I had always dreamed of starting a new project, something that combined my interests and skills. The idea of opening a community art center had been a recurring thought, and now felt like the perfect time to pursue it. I began by researching what it would take to establish the center. The project would involve creating a space where people could explore their creativity, participate in workshops, and connect with others. It was a bold venture, but I was determined to see it through. I reached out to local artists, community leaders, and potential sponsors to gauge interest and gather support. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Many people were eager to contribute, offering their time, expertise, and resources. Their enthusiasm was encouraging and reinforced my belief that the Art Center could be a valuable addition to the community. As the project took shape, I enlisted the help of Emma and Noah. Involving them in the process was a way to bond and share in the excitement of creating something new. Together, we brainstormed ideas for the center, from its name to its programs and activities. One weekend, we organized a fundraising event to kick off the project. It was held at the local park and featured art displays, live music, and a silent auction. The community turned out in full support, and the event was a resounding success. The funds raised provided a solid start for the center, and the positive feedback was a testament to the project's potential. As the months passed, the Art Center began to take shape. We secured a location, renovated the space, and designed a variety of programs to cater to different age groups and interests. The center would offer art classes, workshops, and exhibitions, creating a vibrant hub for creativity and connection. Opening day arrived, and the excitement was palpable. Emma and Noah, along with a team of volunteers, helped set up the final touches. The center was a beautiful blend of color and creativity, with artworks adorning the walls and creative spaces ready for use. As the doors opened, the response from the community was heartwarming. People of all ages came to explore, create, and connect. The center quickly became a gathering place, fostering a sense of belonging and artistic expression. One afternoon, while watching a group of children painting and a local artist conducting a workshop, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The Art Center was more than just a building. It was a reflection of the resilience and growth that had defined my journey. Emma and Noah were actively involved in the center's activities. Emma helped organize art classes for kids, while Noah enjoyed participating in the workshops and interacting with the visitors. Their involvement brought a new dimension to the project and strengthened our bond as a family. The center also became a place of healing and connection for others. Many community members shared their stories of how the center had positively impacted their lives. The sense of purpose and fulfillment I derived from the project was amplified by the joy it brought to others. As the year progressed, the Art Center continued to thrive. New programs were introduced, partnerships were formed with local schools and organizations, and the center became a beacon of creativity and community spirit. Reflecting on the journey, I realized that embracing new opportunities had been a vital part of moving forward. The challenges and setbacks had led to personal growth, and the Art Center was a testament to the positive change that could emerge from adversity. One evening, as I walked through the center, observing the vibrant activity and the smiling faces, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The past had been a teacher, and the future was a canvas waiting to be filled with new experiences and possibilities. With the support of Emma, Noah, and the community, I had embarked on a journey of transformation and creativity. The Art Center represented not just a personal achievement, but a collective effort to build something meaningful and lasting. As I stood in the midst of the creative bustle, I knew that the future held endless possibilities. The lessons of the past had paved the way for new beginnings, and with a heart full of gratitude and hope, I was ready to embrace whatever came next. With the Art Center flourishing and the family's new life firmly established, I began to think about the long-term impact of the choices we had made. The journey of overcoming adversity had taught me the importance of leaving a positive legacy, not just for Emma and Noah, but for the community as well. I wanted to ensure that the lessons learned from our experiences and the values we had embraced would continue to resonate. To that end, I decided to establish a scholarship fund in memory of the challenges we had faced and the strength we had shown. The scholarship fund would support young artists and aspiring creators who lacked the financial means to pursue their passions. It was a way to give back to the community that had supported us and to encourage others to follow their dreams, no matter the obstacles they faced. I worked with a team of advisors to set up the fund, outlining its purpose and criteria. We created a selection process that would identify deserving individuals and provide them with financial assistance, mentorship, and opportunities to develop their talents. To launch the scholarship, we organized a gala at the Art Center. The event was a celebration of creativity and community, featuring performances by local artists, art exhibitions, and speeches from key supporters. It was an occasion to reflect on the journey and to inspire others to embrace their own paths of growth and possibility. During the gala, I had the chance to speak about the inspiration behind the scholarship fund. Standing before a crowd of friends, family, and community members, I shared the story of how adversity had led to new beginnings and the importance of supporting others in their own journeys. It's been a remarkable journey, I began, one that has taught me about resilience, forgiveness, and the power of community. The scholarship fund is our way of honoring that journey and giving back to those who are just starting theirs. We believe in the transformative power of art and creativity, and we want to ensure that future generations have the chance to explore their potential. The response to the scholarship fund was overwhelmingly positive. Donations poured in from individuals and organizations, eager to support the initiative. The gala was not only a success in terms of fundraising, but also in fostering a sense of collective purpose and inspiration. With the scholarship fund now operational, we began the process of selecting the first group of recipients. The process was both gratifying and humbling, as we reviewed applications and heard stories of young artists who had overcome significant challenges to pursue their dreams. The first recipients of the scholarship were announced in a special ceremony held at the Art Center. Each recipient received financial support, along with mentorship from established artists and opportunities to showcase their work. The joy and excitement on their faces were a testament to the impact of the fund. As I looked on during the ceremony, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The scholarship fund was more than just financial assistance. It was a symbol of hope and a testament to the power of giving back. It represented the continuation of our journey and the positive impact we could have on others. In the months that followed, the scholarship fund continued to support and inspire young artists. The Art Center hosted exhibitions featuring the work of scholarship recipients, and their stories of success became a source of motivation for the community. Reflecting on the journey, I realized that the legacy we left was not just about overcoming obstacles, but about using those experiences to create something meaningful. The Scholarship Fund and the Art Center were manifestations of our commitment to growth, creativity, and community support. As Emma and Noah grew older, they became increasingly involved in the fund and the Art Center's activities. They took pride in the positive impact we were making and understood the importance of giving back. Their involvement was a testament to the values we had instilled in them and the legacy we were building together. The journey from betrayal to new beginnings had been transformative. It had taught us the value of resilience, the power of forgiveness, and the importance of creating a positive impact. With the Scholarship Fund and the Art Center, we had built a legacy that would continue to inspire and support future generations. As I looked toward the future, I felt a deep sense of contentment. The challenges of the past had shaped our present, and our efforts to give back and support others would leave a lasting impact. The legacy we created was a reflection of our journey and a beacon of hope for those who would follow in our footsteps.